based off of the size of your scene. Let's see.
So how does that work? Would you just put the URL link of the video in the asset and then it just plays automatically?
So that depends on which one you're using. This is actually a video stream screen. So I need the channel URL. So for this, I would put in
For instance, you can take our stream right now and put it there.
If you have a .m3u8 link, I could put that in here, yes. So
I don't know what kind of link that is.
It's it would look like, one second, let me open up a chat really quick and I'll grab it. It would look like this. So it's I'm streaming from OBS, right? So it's a and I have my own server. So I've got a specific stream ending in .m3u8 and I can put that in, and then, you know, when I run my OBS in streaming format, this stream would pop out on the other end. But there are also other things here, like just a billboard screen that doesn't play videos. So if you were to put something like that in, it'll just take your image URL. And okay, again,
so for the stream, it should come from the source. Is that what I'm getting?
Yeah, so I would stream, for example, through my OBS, and then in my OBS settings, I have a stream output going to a specific server, and this is the RTMP, but then I take the M3U8 to plug it into the screen and basically route what I'm streaming through to Decentraland at that point. It's a little complex for streaming, but it's not that bad once you get it all done and set up. But again, this is the builder, which is the most basic way to build in Decentraland. What's good about it is that it does come pre-populated with a lot of the available assets from Decentraland that you can use. Some of them you can interact with, like push buttons or elevators, or I believe you know, you had mentioned a teleporter earlier. So here is an example of a pre-built teleport pad. So if you own some land, you want to be able to teleport to a different location, you can just drop this in, say where you want people to teleport to on the other end, and then when you deploy this, people can come up, click on it, and it takes them wherever they want to go, or wherever you decide that they go, rather. And then additionally, you are able to download these scene files and export them and import them into Blender so that you can play around with them additionally. But I will show you what typically happens, and this is because the Z, why is that scale? Here we go. No, it's not working either. Do I need to be in edit mode? Edit to, we'll just grab this and we'll pull this up. What is that at? What is this height? I forget where I find the height, but this is around where your build structure would be for a one parcel, and this is kind of how I lay all my stuff out. So now if I go ahead and let's delete this, and I go ahead and I import or open up one of my recent files, you can see what we are currently working on. So this is the build that'll be deployed for our event tomorrow, and the majority of this is all 3D modeled. And so, well, everything in here has been 3D modeled. You also have to add colliders. For those of you that don't know what colliders are, that's what makes sure people don't jump out or walk through walls. So basically everything has an additional layer of colliders. So this is what the visual piece is in terms of the third floor balcony, and then we have a collider on top of that. And if we look at the face orientation through the statistics here, or through the geometry here, you can see that the red and the blue kind of dictates where people walk through and where people don't. So on the bottom floor here, the seating looking at the TV is red on the back. So if people walk through the back of it, they can walk directly through the object. But if they are coming up through the front, they can't walk through the object because there are colliders on the front. I should probably actually make that just an entirely solid object, but that's kind of beside the point right now. So the majority of development happens in the Blender, and you can also import wearable models as well. So if wearable creation is something that you are interested in, Decentraland has very extensive documents on how to actually go about creating wearables in Decentraland. And then at the very bottom, they even have wearable reference models that you can download with sample textures and the sample base mesh, which is most important, along with the rigging. So I believe, let's see if I go ahead, I'm going to import a GLTF file from my desktop to curations. We're going to go with our base female, and there you see a base female was just put in. So these are the base dimensions for the female avatar. So if you're trying to develop wearables instead of develop a building, Decentraland has the base avatars readily available so that you can begin developing. And then once you're done, whether you're developing a building or if you're developing a wearable, you are just going to export it in GLT. Go to this one. So if you wanted to see what it looks like to deploy land, you'd open this in editor, whatever you're currently building, and then you would click publish. You can publish to the scene pool, which means you're making it basically publicly available for anybody to download and use, or you can publish it to your land. And then when you zoom out, this is basically the map of Decentraland, and it shows you what you currently own and where you currently can deploy. So for a scene this size, even though, I own those 2 up there and I own these 16, I can deploy this through these 16 right here. And that's what it looks like if you own land and you're trying to deploy. Additionally, you don't actually have to own land, because the way the land is built in is that you can actually be delegated operator rights as well. So I have...
So, wait. So sorry, question. Before we go further into this, 97, I had the last question about Blender. Mm-hmm. Saying obviously colliders are one thing, but what other things might be unique for your average Blender user starting to develop for DCL?
Okay, yeah, great question. I would say that comes down to poly count, height limits, and things like that. So for example, on a 1x1, you have a max build height of 20 meters. I believe this is currently around 35 meters. So you have to be aware of that constraint, right? Then the poly count also, because if you are trying to add a ton of assets, like say you want chandeliers and you want couches and colliders themselves, just double the poly count, unless you're building your colliders more efficiently than you're building your build. Those are the things that you want to be aware of in terms of deploying. Baking textures can often help as well, but outside of that, you've got your simple objects. Let me turn off this face orientation. You have different materials that you can replace. If you're trying to really texture something well, you can open up your UV editor. Let me pull this back over a little bit. And when you're in edit mode, you will see how the texture is currently lined up and how you want to mess with it. I don't know why that one looks so weird. There we go. So here's what my bookshelf texturing looks like. And sometimes you will want to manually texture, but I would say oftentimes it is more beneficial just to simply go to UV unwrap faces and either unwrap or smart UV project. But those materials are put in through the materials section. For the colliders, you got to strip away your materials. That'll just bog down your scene more and the colliders won't act properly. But I guess you could add animations in Blender as well to the main scene, but typical Blender rules apply.
I like the mechanics on this.